Hi, I'm Dr. Dranitsaris, here today to talk to you about perfectionism and offer a couple of insights and tips about this limited defensive strategy that gets in the way of so many things, including our own happiness. Perfectionism is associated with the imposter syndrome because individuals try to compensate for their good word here, perceived inadequacies by striving for perfection. They may believe that if they can achieve perfection, they'll be able to mask their feelings of inadequacy and avoid being exposed as a fraud. Perfectionism provides a sense of control. That's why we use it. And it's a way to avoid criticism or failure, which can be particularly appealing to someone who struggles with the pervasive belief that they aren't good enough, despite evidence to the contrary. However, the problem with using perfectionism to defend against being judged or criticized is that it ultimately is self-defeating. And because perfectionism is an unattainable standard, it leads to a cycle of self-criticism, self-doubt, and anxiety, further entrenching us in the imposter syndrome. If you think about the other side of perfectionism and how it stops us, it stops us from trying new things or taking on new challenges. If we can't do something perfectly, we won't do it at all. How many times have we heard people say that? Imposter syndrome sufferers become paralyzed by the fear of possible failure, which leads to procrastination, avoidance, or even dropping out and quitting altogether. I know so many people who haven't gone for that job they wanted to, or even signed up for a course because they believed that they weren't smart enough or good enough. Again, despite evidence to the contrary. This perpetuates the cycle of feeling like an imposter. In our minds, we can believe we're letting others down when we aren't as perfect as they expect us to be, as though there is some external standard for perfection that everybody else out there is holding us up to. And if we think that we're not going to be able to achieve it, then we opt out. We don't even try. Sadly, this happens too often. In studies, 75 to even up to 85% of people suffer from some symptoms of the imposter syndrome, with perfectionism being at the top of the list. So individuals with the imposter syndrome need to recognize that perfectionism is a defensive strategy. It is not who you are. So many people say things like, I can't help it, I'm a perfectionist. And that is not true. It's not who we are. It is how we think and behave to make sure we never feel embarrassed or we never feel that we have failed to do something by doing human things like making a wrong choice, making mistakes, or forgetting something, or not being able to master a new skill. We aren't really trying to be perfect. We are trying to avoid feelings. And feeling human is one of those things that we avoid. By learning to differentiate between the defensive strategies of your imposter syndrome persona, like perfectionism, and who you actually are, your authentic self, you can learn to be human, to tolerate feelings, and let your authentic self be free to thrive. Your imposter syndrome persona is limited. Your authentic self doesn't have to be. So muster up the courage and reach out and book with me. Get the help you need to release yourself from the grip of perfectionism. So until next time, this is Dr. Dranitsaris signing off on our Fearless Friday tips to overcome perfectionism associated with the imposter syndrome.